What's up, everybody? I was getting ready to call it a day, but I had a package come in, and so I stuck around in the shop to install it on the chainsaw. I've been working hard to get a bunch of inventory ready for markets. These shorter days are really kicking my butt for productivity. But let me show you what came in today. So this is a new to me Echo 2511P. I absolutely love this saw because it's super light. I found this on Facebook Marketplace for 300 bucks. Normally they're like a $500 saw, and it was in pretty good shape. Runs really good. Needed a little bit of tuning. Could probably use a muffler mod to pep it up just a little bit. But overall, I love it. I love it because it's really, really, really lightweight, which is perfect for a detail saw. It had a 14-inch bar when I got it, with a 3/8 sprocket on it. And it really just didn't have the oomph that I wanted to push a 14-inch bar, especially with 050 gauge chain on it. And so I've been wanting an 8-inch bar for a while. I've been carving with a steel 12-inch dime tip bar, and I really love this bar. This is my second one. The last one lasted me about 8 months, maybe 9 months. But in the beginning, I did not know what I was doing, and I probably ruined it much quicker. This bar's already, this second steel bar is already lasting much longer than the first one because I just know what I'm doing now, because I never had a dime tip bar before that one. But I'm really comfortable running the steel 12-inch bar. But I've wanted to go shorter for a while now, just for closer up detail work. And so I've had my eye on the 8-inch Canon bar. And once I got this Echo, I was like, oh, this would be the perfect saw to put an 8-inch bar on. I didn't want to spend Canon money on a bar that I've never tried out before, that being an 8-inch bar. You just don't know if you're going to like using that until you've tried it. And so rather than spend $100 on just the Canon bar, I actually spent $100 on a Forester setup. So the setup came with an 8-inch bar, a dime tip bar. Now they're calling it a dime tip bar, but it is a fair bit bigger. Let me see if I can show you. You can kind of see there. It's a fair bit bigger than my steel dime tip bar. Now, my steel bar is running 043 gauge, and 043 is what I started with for a detail saw. So the first time I ever ran a dime tip bar, it was a steel dime tip, and I ordered the 043 because in my mind, the smaller the chain, the better the detail. And I've loved the 043. I think they're great. I know lots of people talk about snapping them, but I've never broke one, and I've been pretty hard on them. So I like the 043. I like the detail that it gives me. I like that it doesn't seem to chatter as much as the larger gauge chain. But that's just my personal experience. Looking at this Forester bar, I can already tell that it's a bigger bar, a bigger tip than my steel dime tip, and I'm not going to be a big fan of the 050. I can already tell I'm not going to be a huge fan of the 050. But let me tell you what came with this kit. So for $100 or thereabouts, it came with the 8-inch bar, it came with chain, and it came with a quarter-inch sprocket. So for $100, I got an entire carving setup in an 8-inch rather than paying $100 for the Canon bar. Now, I'm a firm believer in you get what you paid for, and I don't imagine that this Forester bar is going to hold up as well as a Canon bar. But before I spent Canon money, I wanted to make sure that I actually liked running an 8-inch bar. So I'm going to put some time on this bar, and I'll use it until it wears out. And if I find that I like it, the next time I buy an 8-inch bar, I'll buy the Canon. Steel doesn't make an 8-inch. To my knowledge, they only make a 12-inch. And honestly, I have no complaints about that bar. Again, the first one only lasted me about 8 months, but it was probably user error on my part. I abused it, didn't know what I was doing, ran it far too tight, and yeah, that's my fault. But I think this is going to be a cool setup. It's not as small of a tip as I would like, so I definitely think if I switch to a Cannon bar in the future, if they offer the 043 gauge, and to be honest, I haven't even really looked into it to see if they do. Leave it down in the comments if you know. But if they offer 043, I'll definitely switch to the 043 gauge. If you're not a chainsaw carver or a chainsaw enthusiast, maybe those numbers don't mean a lot to you, but basically it just means that the 043 is slightly narrower this way chain than the 050 gauge. It's daintier. It's smaller. And so in my mind, if you want detail, you want as small as you can go, and the 043 is as small as you can get. So I like using it, and I don't know, who knows, maybe the 050 will surprise me. I do know that I'll be modifying this chain, and what I'll do is I'll knock the heel, I'll sand the heel off at a 45 on the top plate. So basically on the back of the top plate, you just grind it down to a 45 degree, and it prevents chatter. I don't typically have to do that with the 043, but this is a bigger chain, so it'll probably help out a little bit. As far as the Echo 2511, P being that it's a rear handle, I love this saw because it's so light. This saw running a 14-inch bar was 2.5 pounds lighter than my steel MS-170 running a 12-inch dime tip bar. So the steel MS-170 had a smaller bar on it with smaller gauge chain, and weighed in the Echo still weighs 2.5 pounds less. So you want to talk about lightweight, one-handed. I could carve one-handed with this saw. I wouldn't recommend it. Probably not the greatest way to get the best details on your work, but you could swing that saw one-handed. It weighs nothing. I think it's like 8 pounds with a 14-inch bar on it. I'll need to reweigh it with this 8-inch, but it's going to be much lighter than the 14-inch bar. And that's why I wanted the Echo. That's what stood out to me about this saw, is just how lightweight it is. I've always said that I will give up power to save on weight, and this saw does that really well. I do think I want to put a muffler mod on this saw, and then of course I'll have to retune the carve a little bit. But overall, it's a great little saw. I know there's some steels out there in the professional grade that would compete with this. Ones that come to mind are like maybe the 194 or the 201, but they're more expensive than this saw new, and I'm not really sure how they compare on weight, but I'm pretty sure that this is the best power to weight ratio saw you can get as far as a small lightweight saw. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why a lot of carvers like to use them. Is they're lightweight and they still have good power. I think that this chainsaw running a comparable bar to my steel MS-170 definitely has a little bit more power, but it's lighter. Again, power to me is secondary. It's all about weight, and you can't get any lighter than this guy. So I'm excited to try out the new Forester bar. I'll let you know what I think about the 050 gauge and the shorter bar setup. If you're running one of these Echoes, let me know what you think about it down in the comments. If you have any questions about my experience with this saw, let me know, and I'll answer your questions best I can. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Whenever you're watching this video, for me, it's nighttime, so I'm going to call it a day. I got tons more work to do. As always, please, if you enjoy my videos, give me a follow and subscribe, all the things. And if you're watching this on YouTube, you can go over to my Facebook or Instagram pages. You can find me at Busy Wren Creations. I'm a full-time chainsaw carver and artist, and I share everything that I do. And I'd love for you to follow or subscribe. If you're watching this on Facebook and Instagram. You can head over to YouTube, just search Chris Poplin, and you can find longer form videos that I share over on YouTube. Thanks so much. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, night, whatever time it is you're watching, and take care.